Welcome to Christina Speaks. I am here today with Jen Bramble. She is the owner of B-Fit. It's this awesome studio in West Des Moines where they do aerial fitness, they do different types of dance fitness, they have pole fitness, and I wouldn't do it justice, so I'm not going to try and list everything. That's what this interview is for. So thank you, Jen, for coming down today and chatting with me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So I guess let's start there with the studio. How long have you had B-Fit Studio?
I've owned B-Fit since 2005 was when I first opened up my own group fitness studio. It was then called Keys Camp back in 2005. And since then, I've changed the name just to encompass more about fitness. Like the original name, Keys Camp, never involved the word fitness. And that was often a phone call I would receive, like, what exactly is Keys Camp? It has say fitness in the title. So in 2014, I decided to go ahead and rebrand it under the title Club B-Fit, change the logo up a little bit, and since then we've just been going full speed ahead with, since 2014, I think we've added over 3,000 members to our roster just by the name change, and I think that luring people in with the word fitness in your title really helped. So,
definitely.
Good change.
And then when you started in 2005, were you in West Des Moines or did you start at a different location and move to West Des
In
Moines?
2005, I actually started right on the border of Des Moines, West Des Moines, over on 63rd and Thornton Avenue, a block south of Park and 63rd, right there when you turn to the south side. Right. There was a there's a strip mall over there still to this day. And there was an old bay called Aerobically Yours, and some woman there had offered me the space, no charge at all, just run your thing. I just want to make sure fitness is happening here. Oh, cool. And it was a really great opportunity after I had left the Aspen facilities. And I just went full speed ahead with my own programming from that day forward. And then we did move to Carlisle in 2006 and 2006, end of 2006, and moving in 2007, because 2007 was when I brought pole fitness to Central Iowa.
Very cool. So you have been in fitness for quite a while. How did you get involved and why did you get involved with fitness?
Oh, goodness. Well, I go back to when I was 4 years old. My mom put me in my first dance class. I just loved moving. I knew that at the age of 4. And then at the age of 6, I started my own business selling earthworms.
Wow. Selling earthworms?
Yeah.
Dug them up yourself, I'm guessing?
Yep. My mom was a very hardworking single mom, so she was a great role model for me. And, you want something to happen, you get it done yourself.
Right.
So she really was that role model in that sense. And at the age of 6, I wanted more money. So I started digging up earthworms at 5 a.m. and selling them on the Highway 210 across the street from Casey's in the morning to the Big Creek people up there in Slater, Iowa, where I grew up. And my mom helped me build the boxes to store them in the morning. Eventually, she was like, wow, my girls are making some really good cash flow here at 6 and 8 years old. So,
and what did you want to buy when you were 6 years old?
Bazooka gum.
Bazooka gum motivated you to get up in the morning and dig up worms. That's awesome.
I could get a lot of bazooka gum for 3 cents a piece. So, and I loved the jokes. And Laffy Taffy, that was my favorite. But no, I really loved what I was doing. I think I just remember and recall at that age knowing I loved to move and I loved making people happy with something that I had to sell. And I was like, earthworms. Who knew I could make people happy with earthworms? But I did. I made every fisherman happy in the morning because I had the best and fattest earthworms. So from that day forward, and my father, who I did not grow up with, but he was a very big influence in my life. He was a entrepreneur at a very young age too. That's all that I ever knew him to be, was a business owner of his own beekeeping business. So
cool.
I was just influenced by people who, taught me how to work really hard, and if you want something, go get it.
Very cool. So then where did you get your interest specifically in fitness?
On high school, being in a small town, Slater, Iowa, I had the opportunity to play all sports and also be involved in drill team. And for my freshman year in high school, at least, I was involved in all of it. I could not say no to any of it. I loved recreation activity. I also loved not being home at that age. There were 6 people. At this time, my mom's as my freshman year in high school, my mom had remarried, and then there were 2 more kids living in my house. So that meant there were 6 of us kids now. And so for me, that was just too many people. And I found ways. So I wanted nothing to do with that. No offense, family. But I was just like, I'm more interested in just exploring the world, learning about other things and people. And I was recreational all the time. And if something wasn't making me happy at home, I'd just go out and ride my bike or put on my inline skates at the age of 14, which was unheard of at that back in 1985, I think, 86. I was 14 years old. So in those days, it was just me being out there and headphones on and rollerblading through town and having a blast. And I just kept that recreational momentum throughout high school. So in high school, I started sports, and drill team was really a big part of my life at that time. Our drill team continued to flourish and get stronger. We had a really great team of seniors leading us who were skilled dancers, and they took us on the road to nationals. We got 2nd place in nationals in 1989. So I got to be part of a really neat team of women, you know, young women, I suppose. At that time, we weren't really women at that time, but we were conquering things. We were earning our own money to pay our own way to these really big, extravagant trips to California to compete on stage, and brought home 2nd place to Iowa. So those experiences really just lent me to believe in myself more and more, and like, well, what can stop me? I mean, I did this and I've done that, and you know, we'd run fundraisers to earn every penny to get us to California, and that team camaraderie, I don't know, it just brought me such peace of mind at that age. I just wanted to keep going with it. So at 19, I moved to Florida for a minute. I came home, and fitness started for me the day I moved home. I can't even tell you, really. It's all kind of a fog now, but in 1992, I moved home and started taking aerobics classes at the YMCA. And the teacher at the time saw me in the front row every class at noon. I was a waitress at the time in the evenings. So I'd take her noon class, and she'd catch me in the front row. I'd be the first one there every time because it was dance, right? As an adult, I didn't know where I could dance anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I just left drill team, but now I got to find a new place to dance that's, you know, not the bar scene because I wasn't quite 21. Where am I going to go? And I found the gym. I found aerobics. I was like, this is the next best world. So from there, I started mentoring with this woman from the YMCA. Her name was Kitty Metzger, and I'll never forget her. She was just the person who led me down that path. She let me teach all her low-impact versions. She'd teach the high-impact, and I was just her sidekick at the YMCA for about a year until I became certified. And the rest is history.
Well, and a really impressive history. I mean, you have kickboxing in your background and Zumba, pole expert. So you have like continued from there on to so many different forms of fitness. Do you have a favorite?
Oh, goodness. In my 30 different specialty certifications over the years, I don't have a favorite. No. I don't. Dance is the premises of all my favorites. But that would encompass pole, of course, and Soca Fitness, which is our newest and latest dance fitness curriculum at B-Fit, which is Caribbean from Trinidad and Tobago, and that Caribbean style music. That's the kind of thing that Soca focuses on. And I mean, if it's dancing, I'm there. Sign me up. It's just good movement. And as far as my favorite way to just get people moving and share fitness is just to get their 2 feet to go to a song that they hear every day, you know, so they don't have to think that fitness is so far out of reach. Dancing can be done in your kitchen, in your bathroom in the morning. It can happen anywhere. So I just hope over the course of the years in this career, I have found dance to always be the number one thing that I love to share, because it does involve or include and doesn't exclude anyone, right? Young to old, men and women alike. Everybody loves to dance. Whether you like to do it in public or not is another question. But everyone can dance at B-Fit. That's what I know. And then when they come in through those doors and they come in for a fitness class of any form, it's genuinely because they really have heard something neat about our education there and what we're trying to do. And I can't stop sharing that information.
And you have, so you have the classes, which are all varied from, like you mentioned, from pole to aerial to soca, your hip hop group, and then you also do personal training.
Correct.
And so do a lot of your personal training clients also do your classes and vice versa, or are these two pretty distinct groups?
They're pretty separate. There's a few that cross over, but a lot of the people that I personal train these days are the clients who would never go to the gym if they didn't have a personal trainer. Okay. You know, they need to be made accountable for their workouts. So I make them accountable for their workouts. That's the niche that I've gathered in my personal training clients. They're not really seeking, this like, I want to lose 20 pounds. I need Jen to help me get there, to help get me there. They are more like, I need Jen to make sure that I move 5 times this week. Okay. So I'll take them out biking. I'll take them out kayaking. We get out for walks every single day that we can, as long as the weather's warm. I get them recreational in a lot of different ways. And I approach my personal training in such a different way than most personal trainers out there. My experience in personal training goes well beyond the weight room. It's about learning people's energies that day. How do they feel when they walk in the room? And that's something I don't think personal trainers of today take into consideration. Maybe the workout should be modified and not so aggressive for people some days. Some days they just need a good flexibility workout. So I like to be that versatile trainer that recognizes those clients' needs as they walk in the door and not let them assume that they're going to get their ass handed to them in this hour workout today. It's the well-being of our life.
Having had you as a trainer,
now,
I can say I had never
too.
sweat as much in my life than maybe our first or second session, but I needed that.
I'm not saying I can't bring that to the table, but I am saying I will not always be quick to bring that to the table first if I see that there's other things in your life that are going on. Like as a yoga expert also, I understand that our own calm is really important to handle our own chaos that we create. We can't always rely on other people to help the calm of our chaos. So it's important that I put those tools in people's well-being belt, beyond just, how can I lug this 35-pound dumbbell up in the sky? It's way more than that. Your body and your well-being are way more than that, and we should respect it on a much higher platform than, how much can I lift? How much can I bench? How much can I squat?
Normally, I do very little talking in these interviews, but I'm curious, I would like to share my testimony. Please. When we started. Yeah. So I had heard of pole fitness, but I had never really considered doing it. And then after my husband died, I met Alyssa, our mutual friend, and we got to know each other. And she had a blog, and I remember I would read her blog. And we would get together every now and then. And I just noticed this change in her. And I was like, Alyssa, did you fall in love? You just seem lighter. Mm-hmm. And she was like, no, I started working out with a trainer. And at the time, I don't know if I have shared this with you before, I was anti-fitness, anti-health, anti-wellness, because in my perspective of that was, well, my husband was healthy, he was young, he was fit, he was active, and it didn't save him. So why bother? Mm-hmm. And at that period in my life, I was eating terribly. I would have a Vietnamese baguette with butter and cheese and coffee whenever the hell I pleased. I was mostly consisting on carbs and starches, and hadn't gone to the Y, which was our thing as a family, pretty much since he had passed away. And this was probably close to a year later. I had gained a bunch of weight. I had no energy. And so right when she said that it was workout related, I was like, okay, never mind. Sorry I asked. And then, but But the difference in her spirit was so noticeable. So a few weeks later, I asked her again. I was like, are you sure that's all you're doing? You're just working out? And she's like, yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm working out, and I've got this great trainer, and I love the stuff that we do. Sometimes we dance, sometimes, and I'm sure she said more, but at that point again, I was like, nope, done.
Workout.
I don't want to hear it.
Workout.
And then for Christmas that year, she gave me a gift certificate to have a session with you. And my first thought was, really? I think I need to work out? What are you trying to say, Alyssa? Was he calling me fat?
For Christmas, unless you asked for it.
Yeah, and she's like, well, you've asked me now a couple of times, and just try it yourself. And I remember putting it away and thinking to myself, yeah, well, this was a waste of your money, Alyssa, because I'm just not going to do this. So we'll fast forward a few months after that. 2 months later.
Yeah, I think February, March we met.
Yep. I had gone back to school. I was going to grad school at the time. And it was when I had to be on campus, it was in Vermont, where they have these super old buildings and these super steep steps. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that my class was on the 4th floor of this old ass building with a rickety elevator that I was embarrassed to take because it made noise and everybody knew. And it was only really for like the handicapped and pregnant people. And I was like, okay, it's not for the fatties. We have to like struggle up these stairs. So, and I remember getting up to my classroom one day completely out of breath, and thinking to myself, God, I hope nobody talks to me because I need to catch my breath. I'm so out of shape. And I'm not used to being out of shape. Like, I was a chunky kid, but I was always very active. So being that out of shape was different for me. And the director of the program, of course, sits right next to me. And she's like, so Christina, how's it going? And I'm like, oh God, I can barely talk. Like, I sounded like I had been smoking for 50 years and I wasn't even 40 years old. And I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And so that was when I kind of had a big old piece of humble pie, and I was like, all right, I have the certificate, I'm going to call. And I sat on it for a few weeks when I got back, because I was like, then I thought, am I even in shape enough for a trainer? Like, do I have to start working out first? And then I remember that you were like, we'll take it slow. And I felt very comfortable going. But I sweat and I worked that day because I didn't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, why would Alyssa like refer to me to this loser who can't even move? But I felt so good afterwards. Like, I felt like I had done something, and all I had done was sweat and move very slowly, but I felt like I had made this big accomplishment. Mm-hmm. And then Alyssa and I started going together, and that variety that you talk about, honestly, I think it was therapeutic for both Alyssa and I. We were both new widows, and I remember there was one time where we went and she cried, so you got me all set up and told me to keep moving while you comforted her. And then there was another session where it was me having a breakdown and you kept Alyssa moving. Well, and it was exactly what I needed, and it kind of like snapped me out of thinking that it wasn't worth it, or that and I was like, okay, fine, maybe I will drop dead young and healthy, and it'll be something weird like what happened to Warren. But at least in the meantime, I'll feel good and get to feel like I'm accomplishing something. Because I think that was the biggest thing for me, was to feel like I had a purpose after going through that.
We do have a purpose. All of us have a purpose. Our physical being is here for a purpose. Absolutely. And if you ever come to the studio, and you've been there, so but you know my motto, but there's a plaque in the kitchen, in our community kitchen, right where you get your coffee and tea. So everybody go back and get some coffee and tea when you're at the studio. And it has a little saying that I wrote about how, yes, my mother and father were good role models in teaching me how to be hardworking and independent. But it wasn't an easy life growing up with a single mom and 4 kids under her, and we raised a couple of kids, and we didn't have things as kids. Mm-hmm. I went through lots of experiences as a child that I don't wish upon children to go through, and in those experiences, my physical passion helped me survive every single one of them. Mm-hmm. I knew that in situations where I felt helpless, I felt broke, I felt hungry, we didn't have money often for food. Mm-hmm. That was, we have to wait a couple of days till WIC checks came in, or food stamps or something. Right. Those were my days as a child. But what always brought me happiness was recreational activity. And when I had that physical power to overcome whatever sad situation was in front of me as a child, those experiences were what got me here to today, and what helped me help others get through their experiences. Those are priceless experiences. And all I can remember as a kid is knowing that, gosh, if I just strap those skates on, or if I just buckle that helmet on, I know I'll feel better in 30 minutes if I just walk away from the situation right now that I'm not happy about as a child. And that's always stuck with me as an adult. I know that the gym will always be a place where it's just me, and it's just me resetting my physical sense of being. And I want everyone who comes to my doors, and you and Alyssa especially, when you guys came to me as your trainer, I felt so honored to be selected as your trainer so I could help you figure out, like, look at you now today, you love fitness, and I love every time I see you and catch up with you every year, and I'm just like, geez Louise, like, look at you keep up with it every day, and you know how important it is because you know how it affected you in that time of need, you know, and it did alter you. And I try to educate people on, you know, we reach down, we pick up a pencil, we pick up trash, we do whatever we do on our daily basis, but are we really thinking about the way our body is physically getting there from point A to point B? And I hope at my gym everyone learns that there is an intention behind every single move we make. And if it's not an intention to become stronger, it's an intention to send more energy to someone else or educate or learn ourselves. You know, there's always a minute of every day we can be doing something physical to entertain ourselves and distract us from all these other things that could really distract us negatively. But I tell you, if we just stay on that physical road of 20 minutes a day of resetting your well-being, what a difference that can make, right?
Oh, yeah. It completely, it was transformative to the point where I had never been a runner before. And
boxing, oh my gosh, you and your boxing, you were a killer boxer.
I've continued with the boxing. That was fun. I remember when you were like, you have to carry your bag around and then we'll hook it up. And I remember like I was pretty much just holding it on top of my head as I walked around the studio because I couldn't lift it. And then doing that over time got to the point where I could actually lift it over my head and do a lap. And I was just so proud of myself. Like, wow, because the first time you told me to do that, I thought, well, this is my end because I will never be able to do that. But yeah, I felt like if I could be strong physically, whatever, you know, it was, whether my weights went up or whether I was doing something correctly and I was able to do a move I never thought I could do, I would come out of there feeling physically stronger, and it definitely helped me feel emotionally stronger. And I think it's been one of the biggest, tools in my arsenal of dealing with the emotional trauma or the PTSD of widowhood, of young widowhood. And I tell people about it all the time. Like you said, you know, just a little bit of movement goes such a long way. It doesn't have to be an hour, 6 days a week. Like you said, 20 minutes a day, turn on the music and dance.
Today's studies say 150 minutes a week. That's it. To make a difference in your well-being. 150 minutes is the minimum requirement. Yeah. And that's all I ask people to do. You don't have to be on the cover of the fitness and, the world's fitness magazine, the world's top fitness magazine. It's, I think today's message is a little bit too strong and pungent for people out there in their young 20s coming to getting out of high school. They kind of see this fitness trend right now as something nearly impossible to achieve. So they'd rather even not entertain that thought. And we need to get back to the fact that it's just about moving and getting distracted from the things that, yes, they matter, but your well-being behind it all matters more, right? We can't really stimulate something while our bodies are sitting there stale and toxic and full of negative energy. That workout actually cleanses that palate, just like we clear a palate of taste with water, or a cracker if you're trying things, right? We have to clear the body with physical energy and activity and clear out that old space. So or old energy so new energy can begin again or reset itself every day.
And it's like, I mean, it makes you think of things, excuse me, entirely differently because you are focusing on how your body moves. I grew to appreciate what I could physically do. And on top of that, I became a lot more conscious of what I was doing. A lot of those choices, you know, instead of calling my friends and saying, hey, let's go out to dinner, it was, let's go walk around Gray's Lake. Let's go take our girls roller skating. You know, I started to think about more active things to continue to challenge myself and incorporate movement into my everyday. And that was a big change from, you know, just kind of sitting around and just kind of doing the regular. And I met people that also were thinking that way. And I have friends today that it wouldn't have been had I not changed, you know, the way that I thought about movement and I thought about my body in movement.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So. And there's so many ways to move. That's the beauty of physical exercise. There's not just one way to do it. Mm-hmm. There's so many ways to do it. And I just hope people have access to proper movement, right? And if not, you have great blogs like this that help lead people to spaces that will provide people with, you know, access to good, positive, strong, confident, long-lasting movement that matters in your body. But we can't just go through these 6 to 10 week challenges in life thinking that that's going to suit us for the rest of this beautiful, you know, 90 years of existence, 100 years of existence if we are so lucky.
And what I love about your gym is the variety. Mm-hmm. I tried a couple of the classes. I remember trying to pole class, and I felt about as graceful and beautiful as a handicapped ape, and so that wasn't my thing. But then I tried aerial, and I absolutely loved it. It was a great way. It's probably the best stretching I've ever done in my whole life, and it was fun. It was challenging. It used core. I think I discovered muscles in my core that I didn't know had ever worked before. They probably, yeah. But I love the variety. So you've got soca, you've got aerial fitness, you've got pole, yoga, dance, and then
strength training classes, cross training, on the ground work, booty boot camp we call it. We have a class called Pump Time, which is very similar to, I think the Y has a class called Y Pump, and there's a body pump out there. Pump Time is very similar at our studio, where we have, you know, designated 5-minute, 4-minute tracks spent on each body part. So it's a total body workout with using weights. And I mean, pole fitness is obviously our niche, and aerial fitness also. And when we say aerial fitness at Club B-Fit, it encompasses 2 things: aerial yoga, aerial sculpt classes. That's what I brought aerial fitness to my club to do, was to cross train in strength training, more balance. Pole fitness is a single vertical bar, and you're always going to have this lopsidedness to it because in the nature of, you know, holding with your right hand, your left hand's never going to be as strong in that grip on pole fitness as your inside hand is, right? It's just a nature of pole fitness. So when I started to realize this after the first couple years, it was actually 2010, I wanted to add aerial after 3 years of pole fitness. And my partner at the time was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So, well, when I fired that partner in 2014, I decided, okay, this is the new direction. We're going to change the name. We're going to rebrand. We're going to put fitness in the title, and we're adding aerial for cross training. And it is, like you said, the most amazing stretch I've ever experienced. And I've been teaching yoga since 2004. I've been a certified yoga instructor. So to find a way to take yoga to the skies and do it aerially, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful practice. And I cannot ever imagine my life without it. I think my future involves, I have very strong visuals of me being retired. I put that in my air quotes.
I can't imagine.
Right, I know. Like I'll be 90 years old training the retirees on the beach, and they'll be in their 80s, I'm sure, right? But I'll still be teaching aerial yoga, I imagine, in my 90s. I hope so.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah. It just keeps me at peace. We have it Mondays now at 9 a.m., by the way. We just started that today, and it was such a neat start to the day. We've been doing Monday aerial sculpt for 2 years probably. And last week they were like, can we just do yoga on Mondays? It's just so hard to come in and, and be so hard on Monday. And so today with yoga, it was just like, oh, now we're refreshed. So we pushed sculpt class to Friday, and now we'll be ready to go.
I love too. It feels very intimate in your gym. It's not huge. Yeah. You don't have, the weights being dropped over here and the grunting over there. It always felt like getting together with a group of friends and doing something different, fun. Even though it was tough, and I always knew going into it that I was going to sweat. But I also knew that people were going to be friendly, that people were going to help me when I didn't know how to do something, or I got stuck in the aerial position and didn't know how to get out of it, or whatever was going on. I still remember that feeling of camaraderie. And for being someone who wasn't very fit going into it and didn't know how I was going to fit fitness into my life, it did not feel intimidating, which I think stops a lot of people. When they think of the gym, they think of an intimidating space. Absolutely. They feel like, well, I have to know what I'm doing before I walk in there. Who's going to help me?
You said it yourself. You said a little bit ago, I'm going to have to get in shape before I go see my personal trainer. It's like I have a cleaner at my house, but I need to clean before my cleaner comes. Like, no, just show up in fitness, in physical fitness. Just show up. I mean, that's step one. It's 99% of the game in fitness is showing up. Yeah. When you get there, you're like, okay, well, I'm here now. I might as well get the work done. So that's kind of been the trend I see over the years in teaching in all clubs in Des Moines. I've taught at every single club. The only one I haven't taught at was Lifetime, because they came after my studio opened. So that's the only gym I haven't taught at. But at every other gym, the same mentality exists. It was like, oh, I couldn't get there today, and then I felt bad. And I just hearing that story over and over again, it makes sense. But the minute they just prompt themselves to get their shoes on, get to the gym, it's the motto I've always said: 99% of the work is just getting there. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Just and I mean, when you think about it, what is it? 4% of a 24-hour day is an hour. So even if you gave yourself 1 hour, and people find that really difficult. I get asked the question all the time, like, how do you make time to work out? And for me, after I realized the benefits to myself, physical, but mostly emotional, it was a priority. It goes on my calendar like anything else that is important. That's and right. I respect that time. That's right. And I don't, use it, I don't stray away from it to go do other things or whatever. That is what I need for myself. And oftentimes that's the only time where I am really in touch with my thoughts, really connecting my brain to the movements of my body. I'm not on autopilot. Mm-hmm. And it's the only time where I feel like my brain could just go, oh, okay, we just have to focus on these movements and not getting hurt. We're not thinking about what we're going to, do at work. We're not thinking about kids. We're not thinking about anything but being in this moment. And that's really, really hard for me to do. Mm-hmm. And exercise so far is the only time where my brain just does that.
That's great. That's great that habit has established itself for you, especially coming from a place where you never wanted to work out in the first place. And you are living proof that those thoughts that you once had about fitness can change. You can find something you love. And I feel like in your situation, I'm going to burst my own bubble here a little bit. Like, you got me, and I love what I do for a living. And I have over 30 specialty certifications. That's not everyone's personal trainer, portfolio, right? And I know that with you finding me, you found that there were so many ways to be recreational. And that's the key. If you don't find it at B-Fit, I'd be surprised. But at any gym, wherever you go, just remember, if that one workout didn't work out for you, there's 1,000 other ways to move. Look at all the different Olympic events we have. Yeah. How many? I don't even know, honestly. Over 200 events between winter and summer, probably more. And those are all forms of physical fitness. Dancing, form of physical fitness, right? Right. Yeah. Just yoga is a form of well-being and physical fitness. Although, can we touch on yoga a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Today's yoga is a little bit too powerful. Remember that yoga is about centering yourself and balancing yourself and doing things alongside movement, but with relinquishing control of it, right? Like really understanding that I'm in this pose for this purpose without struggle and without strife. It's about relaxing in positions and not struggling in positions. So today's yoga has been there's been such a huge emphasis, I think, on, the power behind yoga, how you can sweat, the hot yoga classes. And we're getting lost in this message of, yoga is about grounding you and understanding the power of your breath work, understanding how that breath can save your life, as it did me one day in delivering my son. I had to resort to my yoga for a life-saving experience for me personally one day. Wow. And that message of yoga is just a little wonky right now for me.
It seems like it's getting gimmicky. Like you hear of like yoga with goats and beer yoga and screaming yoga, like
rage
yoga. Yeah.
And now I see yoga-ish, and I'm like, we're really twisting the words around here on yoga. And if you ever look back in the philosophy of the yoga, the principles of yoga, it's being able to be an individual human being and calm our own chaos, right? I said it earlier, like reaching out to other people to calm our chaos is oftentimes what we do as people and human beings, but we also have those tools in our own back pocket. It's just not the easiest thing to teach ourselves, to pull that calm tool out when we need it the most, right?
And do you feel like the opposite is happening with pole fitness, that it's now being seen as fitness as opposed to like stripper training?
Actually, you know what? I see all things still. I see all things still with pole fitness. And having just attended a couple of our international conventions this summer, our pole fitness fight is still pretty strong. And as far as negotiating the boundaries of it, I guess, and there doesn't need to be a negotiating at all, to be honest. That's probably not the best choice of words. I'm pole fitness. It's a fitness curriculum for me. It was inspired from the love of dance and the love of strength. And when I read the descriptions of what it required to be a pole fitness instructor, certified, those were the things that rang volumes to me. Was you must have a dance background, a yoga background is helpful, a Pilates background is also helpful, and group fitness instruction is helpful. So when I read those things, I was like, oh gosh, this is me. I didn't teach Pilates, but I had definitely taken Pilates, and I loved it, and it meant something to me, and I enjoyed the education behind the core work in the Pilates format. So when I went and took my first certification, I never felt, that stripper world entering me, like it was something I needed to pursue or was interested in or more interested in, or that was the only place I could get my research. I always viewed pole fitness as just another dance fitness class I was going to add to my belt. As all people assume, the discussion of pole and, are we promoting, are we promoting sex workers? Are we promoting wellness, truly promoting wellness through pole? Right. Absolutely we are. Are we promoting sex work? No, we're not. That's not really my message at B-Fit. So we still struggle today with the titles, and it gets a little bit more interesting these days as we all become a little more politically open about our sexuality too. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and we could probably have a whole nother 45-minute conversation about it, to be honest. Because I find it really, 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 really interesting the way the pole industry, sex workers view pole, and the way I, fitness person, view pole. Yeah. And sometimes those messages collide a little bit still.
Yeah. I mean, I was completely ignorant of it. I had heard of it, kind of here and there, but until I actually saw you and how you incorporated move with it, then it kind of clicked to me how much strength, concentration, balance, movement, all of these like elements, like you were saying, that are part of yoga. A lot of working of different workout elements that go into it. Your tool just happens to be a vertical pole that can sometimes be stigmatized. I mean, I heard jokes from people like, oh, now that your husband died, you're, trying something new, like for a different, profession, in case, whatever. But I didn't really, I was not good at it and I couldn't really do it. But I was like, holy crap, it takes so much skill to be able to use this particular tool. And you have to be so strong. I admired how strong everyone was just to do some of the moves that to someone else would look simple. And I was focusing on how much strength and body work it took. And it definitely, is a workout. But then you've got things like the movie Hustler that has, pole scenes.
That's like the whole movie is about that industry of sex workers. Right.
Right. And strippers and strip clubs. But I saw an interview with Jennifer Lopez where she talked about how incredibly difficult it was. And she is, she has a dance background to do just a 4-minute choreography, I think is what she had in the movie, how much physical fitness it took and how it used different parts of her muscles and how she was just completely ignorant on how that all worked, and the respect that she has for folks who do pole fitness and how that is, just a different type of exercise that she would like to explore more. Yeah. So I'm hoping that
sure
that
she's
gives
taking
it a
weekend classes now.
Yeah. I hope that gives it a good positive spin. That
I think so. I think the whole movie has been a really nice positive spin. We had KIOA come out to our studio. They called us on a Monday or a Tuesday afternoon. They wanted to come out and do some Hustlers movie, like promotion stuff, and like, can you teach us pole, you think, in the next 48 hours, and we can come out and do a clip? And those two rocked it, those two DJs, Luke and Amy. Nice. That was so much fun. But yes, the movie is it's a beautiful movie from what I've heard, and I've watched some of those J-Lo interviews as well, and I'm very confident in her remarks about it. It's absolutely true in every way, shape, and form. Yes, if you're a natural dancer, it does come a little more naturally to you, but anybody can learn how to pole.
Yeah, really. I have a friend who used pole to recover from car accidents, and it helped her to build her strength back and her muscles, and got her back to doing other physical things that she didn't think that she'd be able to do after having such a bad car accident. So it's definitely, I think, maybe misunderstood a little bit until people actually have an opportunity to see it, experience in action.
I think that not just see it, I think they have to actually put their hands on the pole and experience it as a workout for themselves. And we can turn even the straightest guy into a pole dancer because they just think it's this thing for women, and it's not. It's very dynamic for all sexes to participate in as a physical form of fitness. Strength, if done correctly, strength can be just as equally balanced from left to right side. And I hope those out there pursuing pole fitness are remembering that we as a performer like to perform things one way, but we as a human being need to have balance on left and right side. So I hope your pole fitness is going both ways.
And with pole fitness, you are now what's called like an expert instructor.
Yeah.
Is that
so I'm on the team of Universal Trainers for the team of expert trainers. This is a company out of the UK. Okay. And we have the director there of experts. She's written 25 manuals now in aerial and pole fitness, which include kid certifications also, not for kids, but for trainers of kids, of studios who offer kid programming. Oh, okay. So over in Europe, there's a much bigger market. We host about 40 trainings a month out in Europe. And in the U.S., we're hosting about 2 to 4 trainings a month here in the U.S. countries. So I have been a part of that team since 2013. I was invited. And with my pole and fitness background, they sought me out and asked me to be a part of their team so that I could train the Midwest region. And so I get to travel now with that career, and I've gotten to go to, well, they took me to London last year. So
I saw that.
Yeah, that was so really cool. They had, well, out of the 40, I think there's around 40 trainers across the world. And the 5 of us from North America all got to go over there. And then there were 20 more from the European area so there were 25 of us for a week, just hashing out the manuals, going over everything that the director had put together so far, and just really learning from a universal standpoint what languages work best. Not as far as like German language, French language, Chinese language. Like we know your language. We have to we have manuals in Chinese. We have manuals in Germany, or in German and English. And I think there's one more language that we write it in nowadays. But it was important that we speak a universal language that doesn't offend people. So that was what the neatest thing that came out of that training was that, like, the things that the words we use here in America aren't considered constructive criticism there, and vice versa. They used words that would offend people here. So it was neat to come together and see all these differences in our cultures, but yet at the end of the day, we're all speaking the same story. And now moving forward, we have not only a more positive spin on everything, but a more consistent spin on everything too. So when you go to a pole fitness studio here in Des Moines, Iowa, or you go to one in, in London, you're going to be hearing the same language of, curriculum taught.
Sure, like the vocabulary, the glossary that's specific to pole fitness.
Exactly. So that's what I love right now in this wave of fitness, of pole fitness that we're in now, is just, and me too, just this career, who knew I'd be a part of this pole fitness curriculum, that now we're making this a very universal statement. Next year, Expert is launching a stiletto certification. So get your heels shined up, ladies. We are going to teach you the certified ways science anatomy should be walking in stilettos. So that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I gave up heels so many years ago. I have some in my closet that I'll always think like, oh, these will look so cute with this outfit. And I'm like, oh, but I got to walk in them. Never mind. And I grab the flats and I keep going.
But remember, at pole class, you get a pole to hold on to the whole time with those heels. So it's a little different than just walking the streets of Des Moines in your stilettos.
Very true.
I was quick to remind people that.
Oh my gosh. So you've got, you do different events. You mentioned a couple before we started, and you've got an open house coming up. So what can people expect at the open house?
Every fall and every spring, usually it's October and April, we host our in-house student showcases, and it features our students and what they've been working on for the past 6 months. We sometimes have our group performances that were like, take, for instance, our pole class on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. They've been working on a routine for the past 6 weeks together. So that class will be performing as a squad, delivering you, a routine that Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, you too can come in and learn with us, right? So we're going to be featuring our classes, and then we'll also be featuring the students that have taken on the role of choreographing their own solo, sometimes for the first time. Sometimes they're repeat performers. But my studio focuses on general fitness on a daily basis. I feel like our fitness today has put such a high standard on being competitive or being a better performer in life. And we need to get back to the message of just 150 minutes a week is a really great thing for you to accomplish at the gym. So I don't want this showcase, or I don't want any of my students to ever feel like you have to perform in order to be a good student here. That's not what this is about. This is about letting the people who do want to showcase their stuff and like show their friends and family and spouses, look at this amazing art form that I've learned with this crew here, and look at the amazing friends I've met. And our place is always hospitality number one. We always welcome anybody through the doors, no matter what walk of life you come from. And we want to share with you what our students are so excited about. So that's what the open houses are all about, and it's this Saturday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. The doors will open at 6. We have DJ Ism. He'll be there from 6 to 6:30 playing some jams for us, so we encourage everybody to dance during the happy hour, our happy half hour. And then performances last from 6:30 to 7:30. We really just want people to stop in. It's free to the public. Come in, check out a cool happy hour and get out and see the town by 8 o'clock, you know? So it's just a nice thing to stop out and do on a Saturday night on your way out and about the city.
And you also do, like, for people who just kind of want to explore it a little bit, you also do little workshops.
We have some fun workshops. We do. We have 4 signature workshops a year. The next one coming up is a Halloween hottie lap dance workshop. So, of course, we like to take these, you know, the curriculum of pole fitness. We love to push the boundaries a little bit and have these specialty workshops. Right. So we turn these chair dance workshops into just a fun night out with girls. It typically ends up being girls' night out, but men have come too in the past and to learn the choreography of the lap dance. And then we always invite our partners back. If you have a partner or a favorite FedEx guy or UPS guy, it doesn't matter. Invite anybody back that you'd like to share the chair dance with. And we open doors up to the public at 9:30 to see our performance. And it's really quite lovely how much love is in the room at the end of that. It's quite neat seeing couples embrace one another and hug each other like, oh, honey, that was so neat. And thank you for performing for me. That's one of the neatest moments that I take home with me from those workshops. I'm a single girl, so I don't usually have a partner in my chair, and I don't care. That's not the reason I do these workshops. The best moment is literally watching the end when, I mean, usually the dance ends up with the woman sitting on the man's lap or the partner's lap, and so just watching love happen right before my eyes and me being the inspiration of that, like, I couldn't sleep any better every day if that was the case.
Well, and you also have a lot of fun in your at your studio. I've been to a couple of pole parties, and I had an aerial party there. And
I do that too.
And I know that people have come from all over to have one of your parties. So tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so besides personal training and group fitness, those are 2 of our big engines running all the time at B-Fit. We also thrive on our private party business, and we have 3 more this weekend. I think 3 last weekend. We average 20 to 25 private parties a month, and these are girls' night out, bachelorette. We've had divorce parties. Holiday parties coming up for girls if they, looking for a fun, unique time to share with their girlfriends. We do allow you the kitchen space. Our community kitchen is open to you, and it's fully furnished, except for the beverages and the food. So just bring a few light snacks in and have a good time with your girlfriends or guy friends. Shoot. We have them, we've done both. So combo parties, co-ed parties. We've done co-ed bachelor and bachelorette parties. Those are a blast. And you just won't even know what to expect. So just, if it sounds interesting, book it. It's totally worth it because we make the guys work first, and then they can go sit on the sidelines and I'll teach the girls something else. And the men are just like, they're stopped in their tracks. They just can't believe our process of teaching is so quick, and we just get women to do what they need to do. Women have a natural way to move, and B-Fit's about bringing that out. You've got curves. Let's show you how to move them.
Well, and for men, my brother did the aerial party that I had, and he went out. He actually couldn't find fitness gear that seemed comfortable enough.
Right.
So he went to like the plus size in the women's, and he got himself a pair of yoga pants that he was super excited about, wore them a ton of times after. And he came out and he did aerial. And at first he said, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm a bigger guy. And he was on there. And they got him squared away, and he was trying the moves, and he had a good old time, and he was sweating, and he was like, what kind of birthday party where you go and you sweat? I'm like, well, remember when you were kids and you go to like a Chuck E. Cheese or a Showbiz Pizza or whatever, and that you'd come out sweaty from that too.
We are the fun house of fitness in Des Moines.
It was a good time, and I think that even though he bitched about it, I think secretly he had a really good time. Well, I know he did. I have pictures that prove that he was having a good old time.
Well, not everything pole dancing, too, has to go upside down or up to the ceiling. That's right. The important aspect to remember, that pole fitness stays quite grounded.
It does.
It doesn't need to leave the floor. We just need to keep dancing and activating muscles as we move.
And even aerial, like I don't remember being super high up off the ground either. No. I always felt safe.
Not at our space, no. Our skies are only 12 feet tall, so we can only go so high as a liability. And my game plan with aerial fitness was never to climb the silks
Sure.
and get to the ceiling. It was just more or less for that cross-training aspect of increased flexibility and increased strength, balance strength. So, and we're accomplishing both of those things very well. If you do a private party, though, we do kind of dabble into the beginning circus tricks of wrapping yourself in the fabric. So that is something special and unique to our aerial play parties. But we don't have regular curriculum that entertains, the circus style fabric wrapping.
Yeah.
Well,
Jen, this has been so much fun. Just kind of catching up again and remembering times at the studio. You taught me a lot. I still refer back to some of the movements that you taught me as a trainer, and remembering, to what I constantly ask myself, what muscle am I trying to utilize? Because you used to ask me that all the time. And then it helps me to kind of make that mind muscle connection. And sometimes I'll see people at the gym and they'll have like their shoulders under their ears. And I remember you telling me not to do that, or they'll have
never
their
wear your shoulders as earrings
arched. And I want to go up to them and tell them and give them all of the advice you gave me. But I don't, because I don't want them to look at me like, who are you? And I don't have any, I don't have any certification. So I'd just be coming out of nowhere. But
I do, and I can't even approach people at the gym.
Sometimes
if they haven't hired me, I just have to keep my mouth shut. So.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, outside of or within of your studio, what are 5 things that you really love about Des Moines? Like some of your five favorite things about Des Moines.
First thing that comes to mind is the Rose Garden, only because Yoga in the Park, which I volunteer for now 10 years, as part of that crew. And Yoga in the Park is offered every Saturday morning from May through September. And they brought it back to the Rose Garden this year.
The one behind the Art Center?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
and
so pretty
so
there.
many people over the course of the summer did not know where the Rose Garden was. And that just blew my mind. I was married there. It's my favorite place in all of Des Moines.
Space.
And yes, there's so much to see. The Greenwood Park back there, it's got a lot of neat vegetation that grows every year and grows for a certain purpose. And not too many people know about that. I've had the unique opportunity to write the artist's story from her opinion. Cool. So like I dictated back in the day. So, so yes, it's a beautiful place. It's one of my favorite places in all of Des Moines, the Rose Garden. The other thing about Des Moines I love is its simplicity. Sometimes that might also become my least favorite thing about it, but I think I wake up every day loving the fact that I can get from here to there in probably 20 minutes or less. And most times in the summer, I'm going to ride my bike to work, and I can get there faster than my car. That's the beauty of simplicity in a city like Des Moines. It's just you can really get anywhere really conveniently. So these people who discuss like, oh my gosh, it takes me 20 minutes to get somewhere in Des Moines these days. I'm like,
that's
see ya.
Not a bad thing.
Go to Chicago, go anywhere else in the Midwest. It's not going to be that easy. Even Omaha these days,
Right.
Got pushing 1 million people out there in Omaha. Traffic is getting worse. And I hope Des Moines continues to stay its simple, small town. That vibe here is appreciated. And coming from rural Iowa, I like that the town attracts those of us that knew we were too big for a small town, but we didn't need to really break outside of 500,000 in a population. So I do like the simplicity of Des Moines. So that's only 3 things. I love how it's growing, always. I feel as a Des Moinean since 92, I've lived in Des Moines. But before that, I lived just 30 miles north. So it was always, a place I knew of. Yeah, it was always accessible. I'd come down here and shop and everything as a kid. And I loved seeing the growth over the last 20 years in Des Moines. I just think that things are getting more interesting in our restaurants and our eateries, and I think we're bringing more fresh food to the tables, more things that I'm interested in besides your sports bar and grill and Hawkeye bars. Like, I'm a total Iowa fan, but do we need one more Hawkeye bar? I don't know. I'd like to see a Cyclone theme bar one of these days in this good old town. Not too many of those. Let's see. What else do I love about Des Moines? Oh, gosh.
Speaking of eateries, do you have a favorite restaurant?
Chantro's probably my favorite.
Chantro?
Yeah, Chantro's probably my favorite. You can never go wrong there. It's a very consistent palette of food, Yeah. And George Famaro is a good friend of mine. I got to travel to Cancun with he and his wife this January. And I tell you what, if you ever get to go on vacation with restaurant owners do it because they're on vacation to research food.
Yeah.
So you get to go
Yum.
and just research food. And it was incredible. So that was a really neat opportunity. But yeah, any of the orchestrate management things that George Famar has been a part of, those restaurants are definitely my favorites. Mallow, Django, Zombie, and Chentro for sure. Gateway Market, was just there yesterday. Let's see. And other favorite places in Des Moines? Well, B-Fit. It's probably one of my favorites. I live there. Oh, man.
We've had people talk about people, history, landmarks.
I love the setup of the city. I love how the two rivers come together and create this fault line that makes the tornadoes go away from Des Moines. I think that's pretty cool.
Definitely a plus.
And again, I just love the fact that I can get on my bike and get anywhere here. Last Monday, in fact, it was so nice out. I went out and just rode for 30 miles and I didn't stop. And before I knew it, I was west of Jordan Creek and then at Sec Taylor Stadium. And I'm like, how did I get here so fast? But that's Des Moines. Right. You know, it's connected in every way, shape, and form. And that's just our small city. And then you think about where we all come from this small city. And we were all connected in our small towns at one time. And yet somehow we find this big, small city here in Des Moines. And we continue to stay connected like you and I have, you know. So I love that Des Moines continues to stay about community. I think it's rising again. And I think that's really neat. Yesterday, I just got to be a part of the launching of this new app for fitness studios here in town. It's called The Drop, and it's genius. It's just pulling all of us boutique studios together and allowing like a consumer like you to choose all of us as your gym, not just one of us. So it's a really cool app, and I think it's going to be a really neat turning wave for fitness in Des Moines. I think more people are going to get... I know more people are going to come out to B-Fit nowadays with this connection. So I'm excited to see that. That community grow.
Looking forward to that. Definitely let me know about
And then don't forget about our community yoga classes every Sunday. 52 weeks a year, we run a free yoga class on Sundays at 9 a.m. at the studio. And that's just giving back to the community. Again, I'm always about giving back to the community where I can. And since yoga is so near and dear to me and saved my life once, I am quick to give that class back to the community so they can learn those philosophies and principles the way that I believe they should be taught. And we put it in a free form for you every Sunday at 9 a.m.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And
You're so welcome.
If folks wanted to check out B-Fit, where would they go online or your social media?
Our medias, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I tried Snap, and it wasn't my thing. So you can find us at Club B-Fit on Instagram, Club B-Fit on Facebook. And make sure you follow us there at those pages. That's where you're going to get all our event information. And our B-Fit DSM for Des Moines, bfitdsm.com. That's our website. And you'll find all the classes there. There's actually a little link, too, at that bfitdsm.com for try a free class. And I recommend people go there. That's a kind of a secret little link over here on the left-hand side of your screen. Okay. And all the ground fitness is free your first time. So it's definitely worth checking out the ground fitness we offer too. We are very well known in town for pole and aerial, but ground fitness I've been teaching for 28 years. So that's
I remember taking a pump class, and your son was maybe, I don't know, he's 12, 13. He was little, and he's not anymore. He's he looks like the child of a fitness expert, but back then he didn't. Nope. And I remember just looking over and I was like, well, crap, if he can do it, then dang it, I'm going to do that too. So he inspired me to up my game a little bit. But thank you, Jen. This has been so much fun catching up, and just I can feel your passion for it, and I always have since the moment I met you. So I'm so glad that we got this opportunity to chat, and I really encourage people, try the free class, or my personal favorite is aerial. Give it a shot if you want to stretch, if you want to just try something a little different.
Do a push-up that you never thought you could do with your feet hanging in the sky.
Yeah, and then you end in the most like relaxed kind of cocoon. Yeah. It's just an amazing experience. I would definitely encourage any age, any fitness level, give aerial a try. But all of the classes, I would recommend Jen in a heartbeat as a trainer and as and her studio. It's a wonderful, wonderful space in Des Moines. One of my favorites.
Well, thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. We'll see you all soon.
Yeah, see you soon.